This is Captain Soban of the fleet, Farron Shaw.
We have arrived in Sector 112 and request targeting data.
Hello everyone. Hello. This is Captain Soban. Welcome aboard the Starship at Noma Prize for another episode of Homeworld Wars. Yep, we have another one coming in. Like I told you guys, now that I know how to just spawn ships in a multiplayer map, I have been in a very big experimental mood, which is awesome. I love it. I love doing just these matches where we have a bunch of ships and we kill each other and just watch what's happening. But tomorrow we might take a small break from the Homeworld Wars and get back to our regular scheduled program of Master of Orion and Star Sector. Because I know probably some of you guys are wondering what happened to those series. Nothing happened. I've just been taking a break from them and enjoying ships killing each other. So anyways, today, or I should say this morning, which was actually last night for me, this morning for you guys, I was messing around with multi-beam frigates, and I was trying to see how many multi-beam frigates would kill a heavy cruiser, because that is something that we never get to mess with, because we don't have heavy cruiser technology when we fight the Gadesh. And it turns out a heavy cruiser could survive about 3 multi-beam frigates. They bring them down to about 20%. So, of course, for this video, I've upscaled that battle. We have 35 multi-beam frigates, and we are going to be fighting 10 Kushan heavy cruisers. And we have a Turanic Raider carrier back here that's going to be like a referee for the battle. So, let's get into this.
It's your call. Target acquired. Awaiting assignment.
It looks like the heavy cruiser got the advantage. I guess they have better range.
Awaiting assignment.
There they go, launching their beams. So many beams. Are they concentrating on anything? Not really. I think they're concentrating on that guy down there. Heavy cruisers are taking a massive amount of damage from all those beams. Each one of these multi-beam frigates, I think, do like 750 DPS, where the heavy cruisers do 600. So the multi-beam frigates are more powerful than the heavy cruisers. But the heavy cruisers also have like 375,000 health, I think. I gotta figure out those exact numbers, because I feel like I'm spreading out misinformation when I don't say them right. We have a multi-beam frigate down here that's getting really close to dying. These multi-beam frigates also only have 40,000 health, so they have very little health, but that's also because of how much DPS they do.
Frigate lost.
Alright, we lost one multi-beam frigate. We got a couple of them down here that are getting really close to dying. We have a heavy cruiser down here that is flaming.
Frigate
This one is
lost.
really on fire.
Frigate lost.
So we're losing multi-beam frigates left and right. Now, for those of you who are curious, I did this on purpose. I won multi-beam frigates that have very little health, because one, look at the size of it. It is a teeny ship. It could be almost be classified as a Corvette class if it didn't have all the firepower. So, this right here is their main weakness, being engaged in against ships that are really, really powerful. Where the these guys are the weakness to the heavy cruisers, which we just lost one. Because they are doing concentrated fire against it. Ooh, this one's gonna die pretty quickly. Just getting concentrated on a bunch of multi-beams. So these guys are fighting their weakness, and multi-beams are fighting the heavy cruiser's weakness. Ooh, this one's about to die, so there goes another heavy cruiser.
Heavy cruiser
And
lost.
there goes that one too, so we're down to 725. So far we're kind of even. So the best way to use these multi-beam frigates, if you ever plan to use them in the campaign, because you can totally capture the needle ships,
Cruiser lost.
and with the Splendor mod you can use the needle ships to build your own multi-beam frigates if you really wanted to.
Frigate lost.
The best way to take care of these is have some sort of destroyer or some sort of like super capital, like a heavy cruiser,
lost.
guide the battle, and then multi-beams come in later to support.
Heavy cruiser lost.
Oh boy, the multi-beams might actually win this. Down to 3 heavy cruisers. Oh boy, and they're using concentrated fire. That heavy cruiser health is going down. So even though the heavy cruisers had the advantage, They are still gonna lose when they get concentrated on.
Heavy cruiser lost.
Boy. Right now there's too many multi-beam frigates around there.
Heavy cruiser lost.
Good boy, Heavy Cruiser. Hope you enjoyed your life. They did start to push them back. They went from 35 to 23. But then they lost their numbers quickly, and thus their DPS went down very quickly. And it's dead.
Heavy cruiser lost.
Okay, well that was a really fast battle. We might add another battle in because I wasn't expecting that to be 5 minutes. But then again, both of these ships do a massive amount of DPS, so they were gonna die quickly. So I will be back with a second battle for you guys. Okay, time for the next test. So in between these two recordings, I went ahead and seen how many Turanic Raider carriers it would take to destroy a Bentusi. I did a 15 versus 1, and the Bentusi lost dramatically. I think they only killed like 3 of the Turanic Raider carriers. So I dumped it down to 10 and multiplied it by 3. So in this video, we are going to be using 3 Bentusi trading stations, and we're going to be fighting 30 Turanic Raider carriers.
Standing by.
And we will not be selecting this one down here because that is our mothership. If this one dies, then we actually lose the skirmish match because this is still a skirmish match. We got a couple of them sideways, it's all good. So yeah, let's go ahead and try this out and see what happens.
Target. Receiving. Confirmed. It's your call. Target acquired.
There we go. They are now engaging. Get them all selected so we can see everything. This Bentusi is engaging that one. They seem to be doing focusing fire on that one down there. A lot of them are moving down here to fight this Bentusi. This one is focusing fire on this one. We have 5 Bentusi beams fighting this one, which is doing a massive amount of damage. Each one of those Bentusi beams does as much DPS as a heavy cruiser, probably even more. So keep that in mind. So if they do focus fire, they'll be able to kill these guys really quickly. Bentusis, on the other hand, are still doing pretty good on health-wise. They're like 95%. The Turanic Raider carriers are starting to move in. That one is on fire, getting really, really close to dying. This Bentusi is now focusing on that one because it kind of got in its line of fire. Maybe that's all part of the Turanic Raider strategy to win this, who knows? But that one has been killed. This one down here is getting really damaged. It looks like most of the Turanic Raiders are focusing on this one over here. There's a lot of Turanic Raider carriers trying to kill this Bentusi. But Bentusis are still doing very well. This one is focusing fire in this Turanic Raider carrier in front of it. This one's using 2 of its beams to fight that one. How are you doing? You're focusing fire on, again, the one right in front of you. So fantastic. That one down there is about to die. There it goes. That one up there died as well. That's 2 more Turanic Raider carriers done, and this one, yeah, he got focused fire by both Bentusis. Fantastic. Now, one of the things the Bentusi did when I was testing it earlier was that it started spreading its beams throughout all of the Turanic Raiders, which, I mean, it's good because that means you can kill 3 at once, but it takes a long time for them to kill them. And when the Bentusi did that last time, that pretty much made it lose most of its health. And it basically died, which is why it only killed 3, because it focused on 3 at once and then didn't have enough health to kill another one. So far, doing pretty good. This one's being focused fire on 1 of the beams of that Bentusi and 3 of them on that Bentusi. So yeah, he's dying very quickly. Fantastic. This Bentusi is the only one that's really been taking a lot of damage. I think he is about 80-75% right now. He's focusing on that one right there and that one right there. Really, really crazy fight to see.
Acknowledged.
Some of them are going sideways, which means we're doing extra damage because we're not hitting the front anymore. Alright, so that guy has died. This Bentusi, I think, is now going up here to focus on that one. This one is spreading out most of its firepower to 3 different units. This is a pretty fun fight. All of the Bentusis still have plenty of health. They might actually be able to win this because they are knocking out the Turanic Raiders pretty quickly. The Turanic Raiders are still focusing primarily on this one. Looks like there's a handful of ones focusing on the second one, and same thing with the third one. Primarily they're focusing on the first one. Alright, what are the Bentusis doing now? This one is still spreading most of its firepower out. This one's focusing on the one in front of it. What are you doing? You're spreading your firepower out, so this is a good opportunity for the Turanic Raiders to take advantage of the spread out firepower, because I think all 3 of the Bentusis are doing this now. They're spreading out their firepower to multiple Turanic Raider carriers. It's a strategy that can benefit in the long term, but in the short term, it won't help the Bentusi that much. How many Turanic Raiders are focusing on this one? We got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 focusing on that one. You are exposing your underbelly, which means you're going to be taking some extra damage, because any type of super cap... I don't know if it works on motherships, it might not, but for super capitals, if they get attacked by anything other than the front, they take extra damage. In fact, if they get attacked only by the front, they take 20% less damage. And in my mod, where ships have a crap ton of health, you can actually take advantage of that if you have to kill a fleet quickly. So you are focusing on those 3. One of your beams is hitting one of the Turanic Raider carriers sideways, which means he's taking additional damage. You are focusing on the one on top. Good. And you're still spreading out all your damage. Not bad. We killed 10 of the Turanic Raider carriers so far. We haven't lost a Bentusi, but that's also because the Turanic Raider carriers really aren't focusing on one Bentusi. They're definitely spreading their firepower around. But there's enough Bentusis to where the Turanic Raider carriers can take advantage of their point defense systems, which actually do a decent amount of damage, to throw around a little bit of firepower. Each one of these point defense shots do, I believe, 40 to 50 damage each, which isn't a whole lot unless the entire point defense system is focusing on you. So, yeah. Yep, that one died. Fantastic. Now Bentusi has come back down because that was the one he was focusing on. We have a couple Turanic Raider carriers in the red. We have quite a bit in the yellow. But still, a lot of them really haven't taken a whole lot of damage. Some of them might be taking damage from each other. I don't think so. That might have been like when the beams were like moving over to the next target. The Bentusi, this one is approaching 50%. About maybe 55, 60 right now. The middle one is probably still doing the best at about maybe 70%. And this one is starting to get a little concentrated on. About 60%. Not bad. Got 3, 4, 5, 6. We got 7 Turanic Raider carriers focusing on that one. You have, this one has about 5, and this one still has 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we just killed 2 Turanic Raider carriers right there. 17, there's another one that went down to 16. This one down here is about to die. So doing the whole focusing on multiple ship strat seems to be working for the Bentusi. Is dead. There we go. They're down to 15. Don't have any Bentusis down in the yellow yet. I would like to take this and maybe scale it up even more. Maybe for a future video. where we have like 5 Bentusis versus like 100 Turanic crater carriers. Having multiple Bentusi fights seems to be a really cool, even though single fights are really cool too. Okay, there goes that one, and then there goes that one. Now they're down to 12. They are losing numbers fast. So in case any of you guys are curious, these Turanic Raider carriers have 285,000 health, which is more than the destroyer, which I think has 225,000 health. I'm gonna have to look at the numbers. Because I keep forgetting all the numbers that all the super capitals have. But destroyers have, I believe, 225,000 health. Heavy cruisers have 325,000 health, and these guys have 285,000 health. They also do more damage than a destroyer, but not as much as a heavy cruiser. So they're balanced between those as a super capital ship killer. Ooh, this one got down into the yellow. Fantastic. He's below 400 health. He's below 50%. They're down to 8. They're losing units fast. They have the majority of them focusing on this one over here. This guy only has 1 focused on him. And this one got down into the yellow as well. And he has 3 focused on him. Fantastic. Okay. Want to make sure I didn't accidentally bring the Turanic Raider marked as our mothership into the fight. Fantastic. The Bentusi now has no more focusing on him, so now he's over here assisting this Bentusi. Ooh, this Bentusi has the little damage marks on it. Cool. I didn't realize that they actually added that in. I think it adds it in at 50% for the Bentusi. Or this one might actually be at that level. The Turanic Raiders are definitely losing this fight. They're down to 5. They did a lot of damage though. If they would have concentrated more on one of the Bentusis, they probably could have wiped them out, but they spread their damage out too much. This one has 2 left. This one's being concentrated by 2 Bentusis, so it is dying quick. How fast that health is dropping. Fantastic, and now they have 1 more over here. This Bentusi is splitting his firepower between 2 of these. Nope, never mind. He's concentrating over here to help this Bentusi out. Now he's splitting. They have 2 left. This one is now dead. And now, young Turanic Raider, you will die. So much damage, holy crap. Even with my mod, with that ship having over almost 300,000 health, that still went down super quickly. So victory goes to the Bentusi. Fantastic. They did do a lot of damage to the Bentusi fleet though. This one looks like it's about maybe 40%. This one's about 45%, and this one is about maybe 70, 65, maybe 70. I think 70%. So, yeah. If they would have concentrated on one of the Bentusis, they definitely probably would have won that one. But they spread their damage too much between the 3 Bentusis. So yeah, again, this was a short one, so we're gonna do 1 more for today's episode. I'm trying to give you guys a lot of different Homeworld War matches up today. All Alright, we got one more test for you guys. This is going to be the Battle of the Super Capitals. So we have 20 Kushan destroyers, 10 heavy cruisers, and 15 Turanic Raider carriers. Now, I was going to add the Titan in, so we had the Titan destroyers and the Titan heavy cruisers in this match, but that also requires me booting up my VM and then setting this map up on the VM and then getting all that stuff coordinated without the ships killing each other when the ship spawns in, and I don't feel like dealing with that. Maybe next time. Maybe we'll save that for a future video. Anyways, let's get into this. Let us kill everything in sight. Without actually targeting ourselves. There we go.
Your call. Target acquired. Target reporting. Confirmed.
There we go. I'm gonna vote for the destroyers. I think destroyers are gonna win this. Let's go, go, go! And get everyone selected so that we can see the stats of everything. This destroyer seems to be focusing on that Turanic Raider carrier. That seems to be focusing on this one. And we got a few destroyers over here meeting up with the heavy cruisers. Not bad, not bad. What are the heavy cruisers focusing on? Some of them are focusing on the destroyers, and others are focusing on a Turanic Raider carrier that seems to be kind of getting aggressive. Turanic Raider carriers are kind of pushing everything around. Now this destroyer here has fallen into the Turanic Raider's trap where he is in range of multiple different point defense systems, so he's probably going to die pretty quickly. Those point defense systems are very deadly.
Receiving.
How is everyone doing damage-wise? Turanic Raider carriers actually aren't doing too bad. Heavy cruisers are barely even taking any damage. This one seems to be taking the most damage. I think it's being... no, it's not really being focused on anything. A lot of the Turanic Raider carriers aren't using their ions. I think it's just because they're just either not close enough, or they just... I mean, they're Turanic Raiders. Maybe they feel like they don't need it to win this battle. That's always a possibility. But I love how when you get super close, there's so much engine and so much point defense systems going off that you can't hear the beams. I find that quite funny. So far, mostly everything seems to be pretty even. This destroyer's taking some damage. This one back here, it looks like he's taking the most damage, but again, that's because he's being hit by a lot of point defense systems. I'm gonna go ahead and set everyone on aggressive. Maybe that's why the Turanic Raiders aren't actually using their beams. This one is using one of its beams. You do you, Turanic Raiders. This one's using both its beams. It's not using both its beams all the time, though. Weird. Do be weird, Turanic Raiders. This heavy cruiser is focusing on that destroyer. We do have a couple destroyers back here focusing on a heavy cruiser. Anyone taking advantage of people's weak points? This heavy cruiser is. He's attacking from the side, almost to top. The top, they do 25% more damage. Sides, they do normal amount of damage. So yeah, these heavy cruisers here are taking advantage of that destroyer's weakness. Are we taking advantage of any of the Turanic Raiders' weaknesses? Not really. This Turanic Raider is definitely taking advantage of that destroyer's weakness. This destroyer here is now on fire because it's being hammered by point defense systems. Also, another reason why these point defense systems are so effective when they surround the other ship like this is because it's hitting all their weak spots. So it does extra damage when the ship gets surrounded like that. That is an interesting side effect of the Turanic Raiders that I was not predicting when I was messing around with their DPS. Okay, so right now it looks like only the destroyers are in yellow, which makes sense. They have the least amount of health out of all the ships that are currently in combat. Any of the heavy cruisers really taking damage? This one is. This one's been taking a decent amount of damage. I think it's because he's being concentrated by a couple of the Turanic Raider carriers.
Ready for orders.
Oop, that guy's about to die. He's so close. Ow.
Destroyer lost.
This carrier right here has been taking a decent amount of damage. What are you being attacked by? Oh, you're being attacked by a couple destroyers at your weak spot. Being attacked by the side. Okay, okay. This heavy cruiser is now on fire.
Standing by.
But he's probably going to die quickly. So far, we've only lost one destroyer. Fantastic. So let me know what do you guys think of this style of Homeworld Wars video, because I'm thinking about doing this more in the future, because not only will I be able to do a lot more battles, but it will also help lengthen the video to make it as long as my normal videos, because most of these wars usually only take 10-15 minutes, and I always feel guilty when I put a very short video up because normally I put 30-minute to an hour-long videos up. So I might make it to where Homeworld War videos have about 3 wars in them, so they'll average between 30 to 45 minutes. Now what's going on with you? You've activated your reverse thrusters. You getting into a different position? This heavy cruiser is getting really close to dying. There's another one that just turned red. That is this destroyer right here. And also in the future Homeworld War videos, we will be adding like strikecraft and whatnot into it. And I also want to make like scenario videos where like we have to defend a research station from an incoming like Titan attack or incoming Turanic Raider attack. I think those will make a really cool videos, because I love doing these battle scenarios where we just build a bunch of ships, tell them to kill each other, and watch what happens and absorb the chaos. To me, they're really entertaining, and they're really fun just to narrate on. This destroyer's getting really close. Ooh,
Heavy cruiser lost.
Ooh, lost our first heavy cruiser. I think that was the one that the Turanic Raider was focusing on. This one's taking a lot of damage, but that's also because some of the Turanic Raiders have been taking advantage of its weakness from being sideways. Same with the destroyers. There's 2 destroyers focusing on its side, which is making it do more damage. Very interesting. And I've also been thinking about doing a tournament style Homeworld Wars video where we have a bunch of groups of ships and they have to fight each other, and whoever wins advances, and if they lose some ships in the fight, then they just have to deal with that as they make their way through the bracket, and then whoever wins the bracket has to fight some sort of a super ship that I will be making, like my version of the Elite Destroyer.
Destroyer lost.
Lost one destroyer over there. Of course, it will still be killable. I'm not going to make it to where like the destroyer has like 10 million health and you have like 3 heavy cruisers and you have to kill it. No, it's definitely going to be a little bit more thought out. But that's a project that I've been thinking of. Let's go through them again. How are we doing on destroyers? This destroyer's about to die. That one's very close to dying. This one's close to dying. The destroyers are starting to fall apart. How are we doing on the Turanic Raider side? We have a Turanic Raider carrier that is very damaged. This one's getting close to dying. Same with this one. This one's also being hit in its weakness by that destroyer, so he's taking extra damage. Same with this one. He's been hit a couple times in this weak spot.
Destroyer lost.
Destroyer just lost 1 unit. How are we doing on the heavy cruiser side? There are 2 heavy cruisers that are severely damaged. This one is being hit by its weakness by a couple Turanic Raider carriers. This one, kind of the same way. That's why they're taking so much damage. They're being hit by the side instead of the front.
Reporting.
And we are about to lose that heavy cruiser.
Heavy cruiser lost.
There he goes. We're about to lose this destroyer, but we're also about to kill about 4 different Turanic Raider carriers. That one's dead. Fantastic. That one's dead as well. So far, this is still kind of an even match, even though the destroyers have been taking most of the blunt of the damage.
Destroyer lost.
Here was that heavy cruiser.
Heavy cruiser lost.
Heavy cruisers are down to 7, which a lot of the heavy cruisers are getting weak. A lot of the destroyers are focusing on the heavy cruisers, which will give Turanic Raiders the advantage. Because the heavy cruiser is the only one that can actually out DPS the Turanic Raider carriers. The destroyers have to use a couple of them to kill the Turanic carrier, because they do more damage than them. But there goes that Turanic Raider carrier. We're down to 11. We have one destroyer down here that's very close to dying. A lot of the other Turanic Raider carriers really haven't taken a whole lot of damage. So there is a pretty good opportunity, a pretty good chance that we're going to have destroyers versus Turanic Raider carriers at the end of this battle. This heavy cruiser is being focused on by 2 Turanic Raider carriers and 2 destroyers. So yeah, he's dying quickly. They're also hitting him in his weak spots.
Heavy cruiser lost.
That one's dead. This one's going to be dying quickly.
Heavy cruiser lost.
Down to 5 heavy cruisers. Heavy cruisers have lost half of their units. And it looks like the destroyers are focusing on more wiping out the heavy cruisers before they work on fighting the Turanic Raider carriers. Where I think most of the heavy cruisers, except for this one here, is focusing on the destroyers. And we have 2 heavy cruisers focusing on the Turanic Raider carriers, and we have 3 heavy cruisers focusing on the destroyers.
Reporting for duty.
And so far, the destroyers, even though we're about to lose 2 of them, have the number advantage. But they had the number advantage at the beginning as well. Any Turanic Raider carriers having focus fire yet?
Destroyer lost.
And these 2 are focusing on that one. What are you focusing on, buddy? You are focusing on a Turanic Raider carrier, but you're also at the right position where you're doing extra damage. This heavy cruiser is having a one-on-one with that Turanic Raider carrier, which is funny. These actually might kill each other, unless he doesn't focus all of his firepower on it. So, that one might die. This heavy cruiser is focusing on that destroyer. This Turanic Raider carrier is doing the same thing, also hitting that destroyer in its
Heavy
weakness.
cruiser lost.
And we have, I think, 4 destroyers here focusing on this heavy cruiser. Very interesting. How are the Turanic Raider carriers doing? We got 2 of them on, actually 3 of them on fire. So these ones are probably going to start dying soon. This one's going to die pretty quickly because he's being hit by his weak spots. Because he's focusing on that destroyer, which is going to be dying pretty quickly.
Receiving.
Heavy cruisers, we got 2 heavy cruisers focusing on destroyers. Actually, 3 heavy cruisers focusing on destroyers, 1 on the Turanic Raider carrier.
Awaiting assignment.
And what exactly are the destroyers doing? These 2 are focusing on Turanic Raider carriers. Actually, those 3. This one's also focusing. He's also hitting that one in its weak spot, so he's doing extra damage. And a lot of them are focusing on trying to wipe out the heavy cruisers. This battle's going pretty well.
Cruiser lost.
I like this. So far, we still seem mostly even though the heavy cruisers are getting overwhelmed now. And it looks like the destroyers are wanting to focus on the heavy cruisers and wipe them out before they focus on the Turanic Raider carriers. But we have three destroyers focusing on this carrier right now. And I think both of them,
Destroyer
2 of them,
lost.
I think are hitting its weak spot. Oh, never mind. No longer hitting the weak spot. He realized that, hey, I should probably focus on these because they're actually killing me.
Destroyer lost.
I think we just lost a Turanic Raider carrier in the big blue explosion. So there's 10 carriers left, 11 destroyers, and 3 heavy cruisers. And the destroyers,
Heavy cruiser lost.
instead of teaming up with the heavy cruisers to wipe them out, are just trying to wipe out the heavy cruisers.
Destroyer lost.
I mean, they are doing a lot of focus fire. This Turanic Raider carrier is about to die. Apologize about that interruption. My parents are on their way to town to pick up more tea and baseboards and whatnot. They're continuing to do the winter projects while it's still super cold out. A lot of the Turanic Raider carriers have a lot of health still. This one and this one are only ones that are kind of low, so I have a feeling the Turanic Raiders might actually have this. It depends on if the destroyers can take advantage of their weak spots. This heavy cruiser is being highly concentrated on by 6 destroyers. This heavy cruiser is trying to help, while the Turanic Raiders are taking advantage of its position to do extra damage by hitting it on the side. This battle actually turned out a lot better than I was expecting. I was expecting this to be like an onslaught. It seems to be pretty balanced, and I like it. This destroyer is being focused on by 3 different Turanic Raider carriers, so I'm sorry, buddy. You're gonna be dying pretty quickly. This one's being attacked by 2. He is getting help from an additional destroyer. Fantastic. This one is fighting the one on top, and most of the destroyer armada is focusing on trying to wipe out this heavy cruiser. This heavy cruiser is getting really, really close to dying. And then we'll have one more heavy cruiser, which is focusing on fighting the destroyers. I have a feeling
Heavy cruiser lost.
the destroyers, yep, they're going to focus on the heavy
Destroyer
cruiser.
lost.
Yep, the majority of the destroyers are wiping out the last heavy cruiser. And then it's just going to be destroyers versus Turanic Raiders. Which, at the moment, unless they take advantage of some of their weaknesses... Well, I mean, there's 2 Turanic Raider carriers, or 3 Turanic Raider carriers that are very weak. If they take advantage of those weaknesses, which I cannot give orders, that's one of the rules of the Homeworld War series, is I just issue the attack order and we just watch what happens. So I cannot tell these destroyers to focus fire on that one. But sorry, heavy cruisers, you had the most firepower, but unfortunately, you were the weakest link in this combat.
Destroyer lost.
Goodbye.
Heavy cruiser lost.
Alright, heavy cruisers have officially been eliminated. We have 8 destroyers versus 9 Turanic Raider carriers. At the moment, Turanic Raider carriers have the number advantage and the DPS advantage. Let's see if the destroyers can take advantage of that. So which one are they attacking? It looks like they're attacking this one, which has a lot of health, so it's going to take a long time to kill that. But a good majority of them are actually fighting one of the ones that are severely damaged. Good for them. You are fighting one that hasn't taken a whole lot of damage, and same with you. So you guys are probably going to be sacrificial pawns for all of these different Turanic Raider carriers. The Turanic Raider carriers focusing on... I think they are doing a lot of focus fire. We have 3 of them fighting this one, 3 of them fighting the bottom one, and it looks like that one, two of these are fighting that one, and this one's fighting this one. It is weird that sometimes the Turanic Raider carriers don't use their ions. But hey, they're pirates. They can do whatever they want. If they think they can win this battle without using their ions, go for it. This one down here is definitely using their ions, although they're only using one of their ions, not both. Turanic Raiders, you have a really weird sense of pride, or... I mean, you are pirates, so you can do whatever you want. It's just weird. Do we have any of our ships that are getting close to dying? We got a few, not a whole lot. This Turanic Raider carrier here is getting close to dying, which will even up the playing field to 8 versus 8. Thank you. I didn't want the destroyer. And as long as the destroyers focus fire on the weak ones, they might have an advantage. But we'll see. We do have 2 of our destroyers in red, and we have 3 destroyers in yellow. And there are 2 Turanic Raider carriers currently in the yellow area. So this one is about to die. It is now dead. Alright, it looks like this one is the next targeting. Nope, they split up their firepower. They split up the firepower between this one and this one. May or may not be the best idea, but again, the Turanic Raiders aren't using all of their ions. They're pirates, again. They can do whatever they want.
Destroyer lost.
Just lost that destroyer over there. This one is now being heavily concentrated on by 3, 4, 5, 6 different Turanic Raider carriers. Oh wait, no. 5. This one is actually damaging this one, which is pretty good because it's hitting its weakness. This one's just going to get overwhelmed by all the point defense systems, because none of these carriers are using their ions. Oh my god. This one is being concentrated on, even though it has a lot of health. Turanic Raider carriers still have the advantage. They all seem... well, there's 2 of them focusing on this one. This one is being highly focused on by the other carriers. So he's going to be dying quickly. This Turanic Raider carrier just entered the yellow zone, so he is taking a decent amount of damage from all the destroyers. I don't know... we have a bunch of destroyers that have very little health left.
Destroyer lost.
So this might be an onslaught happening here soon. And now they decide to start using their beams against this destroyer. Well, a few of their beams. Nope, this one's using both beams.
Destroyer lost.
There goes that one. This one down here is now on fire. Yeah, now they're starting to use their beams. The Turanic Raiders are just weird. Sometimes they want to use their beams, sometimes they don't. But they're pirates. They can do whatever they want. If they think they can win the battle without using their ion beams, then so be it. Ooh, they're focusing on this one. That's a good choice, because that destroyer has very little health. We might be able to kill this Turanic Raider before we actually lose the rest of our destroyers. But the destroyers decided to focus on ships that had a lot of health, so yeah, I think this might be the end for the destroyers.
Destroyer lost.
There goes that one. And now we have a couple Turanic Raider carriers focusing on this destroyer, and they're hitting it on its side, which is will allow it to do more damage. So this destroyer is going to die pretty quickly. Don't think they're going to be able to kill that before they die. I mean, we do have another one up here that has a lot of health. But the Turanic Raiders are taking advantage of the weaknesses on the side of the super capital, so they're doing extra damage to these destroyers.
Destroyer lost.
Yeah, we might be able to kill this one. Come on. It's almost dead. There we go. Good job, destroyers. Good job looking at the Turanic Raiders so you do less. They take less damage now. Although this one is hitting on its side now, so he's doing extra damage. Alright, so which one are you guys attacking? It looks like you're focusing on this one. which has a lot of health, so probably a bad idea, but you guys probably aren't going to survive too much longer, so you're probably not going to kill it before you die. You are focusing on the one that's on fire, which is good, but again, you're not going to be able to do enough damage to kill it before the Turanic Raiders wipe you out. Oh yeah, and you're getting hit by the point defense systems on your side too, so you're taking damage from them. Fantastic. And this one is now dead.
Destroyer lost.
We got 2 destroyers left. Turanic Raiders are all now starting to use their ions.
Destroyer lost.
They want to finish it up now. We have 1 destroyer left. Yeah, there's no way we're actually going to kill this one before the destroyer dies. There's so much firepower, and they're all going to be attacking in its weak spot. One of its weak spots, I should say. Come on, destroyer, I believe in you. Taking so much damage. All those beams that hit do so much damage. Yeah. Not gonna be able to kill it in time.
Destroyer lost.
Well, the victor goes to the Turanic Raiders for the Super Capital Ship Brawl. Probably what I'm gonna be calling this one. And honestly, the destroyers had the numbers. They probably could have taken care of it if they didn't focus so much on trying to wipe out the heavy cruisers. If the heavy cruisers and destroyers would have worked together to kill the Turanic Raiders, they definitely could have won. But no, the destroyers decided they were the supreme super capital ship, so they wanted to focus on the heavy cruisers. And in return, the Turanic Raiders were able to slowly cripple them down to the point where they destroy them. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this. This was a lot of fun. This one was long. Usually when we have the super capital ship battles, they end up being really long because they don't do a whole lot of damage compared to how much health they have. So anyways, hope you guys enjoy this. And again, leave a comment in the description, or not the description below. Leave a comment below if you enjoyed this like 3-parter Homeworld War episode. Because if you guys do, I'll continue making Homeworld War episodes like this, because I feel really bad whenever I make a Homeworld War episode and it ends up being like 10 minutes. I want it to be like closer to 30 minutes or more. So yeah, let me know if you guys enjoyed that, and let me know if you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave that like. If you like what I do, consider subscribing, and I'll check you guys out in the next video. Until then, this is Captain Sopan signing out.
The Faker have arrived. Emergency hyperspace procedures initiated. The mothership must survive.